Hey everybody, welcome to the chair again with your host Frankie the Barber. I'm with my friend Richard and Patty, and again, second time around, Tony Fiore, part two. He's back joining us again because we just scratched the surface with Tony last time. I want to have him back on again because we have a lot more to talk about and a lot of things I didn't really ask last time or we didn't get into last time. I think we ended with starting to touch on the on car robberies.
Right, I think we were getting into the
We were getting into that.
and we ran out of times.
Yeah, we ran out of time last time. So, I mean, as far as the car robberies went, my question is like, how many guys were involved?
Well, we had two guys grab the couriers and one guy driving. There was generally three, no more than four.
So one guy would be the getaway driver,
Yeah,
and three other guys or two other guys would handle
right.
the situation.
Yeah.
And there was always like what, two drivers?
Well, one guy'd stay in the truck, the other guy would take the money into the bank or pick it up wherever he was picking it up. Like the Emerald Square Mall, when we did that, they used to pull up front. The guy stayed in the truck, and the courier got out, and he went inside, and there was a Bank America right there.
Yeah.
And he used to pick up the money there. There were, I think at the time, 410 stores in the Emerald Square Mall, and there was one bank. So everybody went there,
Went to that bank.
went to that bank.
So you really figured that out.
Well, what happened was I took my friend up there. He wanted to buy some vitamins. They had a vitamin store in there. So when we pulled up, just parking, the armored truck pulls up, parks right in front of the building. So I says to him, George, I said, wait a minute, wait. So we watch. The guy gets out, he got the truck, the hand truck, and he walks into the front door and he goes right into Bank America. He might have been in there 10 minutes. Then he comes out and he has like 5 bags on on the truck. And there was like in each bag, there was over $100,000 in each bag. Gosh, so, we watched the
Back then, that was a lot more money back then.
is now too.
But I'm saying, back then though, I mean,
So I says to him, I says, we got to come back tomorrow. It was 11:15. I said, we got to come back tomorrow. We got to watch this and see if it's a routine. 'Cause
Every day.
once they pick up at a place, they're on a schedule. It's the same time every day or every week whenever they pick up. So the next day we go there. We get there around 11 o'clock. We park in the parking lot. About 11:30, 20 or 12, here comes the truck. Same routine. So I says to Lou, I said, we'll get him next week. I said, we see his routine and everything. So he says, first I went every day, we timed it. How long it would take us to walk to the front door when the guy was coming out. Because you don't want to get there and you're standing out there with AK-47s and everything with all the people. I said, we got to time it. We got to get him just as he goes in and then he's coming out. So we did that for a few days. And like I say, it was about 10 minutes and everything. So I says, all right. So I says, the only thing we got to do, I says, we got to figure a way to get to that door. What I was walking from back in the truck where we park. I says, right to him, I says, with these weapons. We got all automatic weapons. So I'm thinking, I said, how can I get to him? So I says, I come up with one. We got the wheelchair, so now I'm going to put my friend in the wheelchair and push him to the front door. He had a blanket over him, and he had
The AK.
the lay under the blanket. So we were, we've done that practiced that a couple of times. So now, the day that we're doing it, the truck pulls in, the guy goes in and everything, and I put him in a wheelchair after about 6, 7 minutes. I put him in a wheelchair and I reel him to the front door. So we just get to the front door now. The guy's ready to come out. He's got the truck with about the 5 bags on it. And he holds the door open for us, you know, because I push him in. Yeah. So I push him in, and I says to him, I says, thank you. No problem. I said, but we're taking that truck. And I guess he looked like it was a joke, you know. I said, no, it's no joke. My friend pulls out the AK. So now we come out, and we got the truck, and the guy pulls up in the car with Gab. Now the guy in the truck sees us. So he don't come out right away. He waits until we get in the getaway car. And in back of the Emerald Square Mall, there was like a parking lot, and there was a big embankment. And it was up on top of that embankment was a road. And then on the bottom was 295. So I says, we got to get up that. We can't come out front because the guy's going to block the entrance with the armored truck. So I said, we got to get out of here. So I go up there. I says, I'll go grab a Jeep. I'll go steal a Jeep. So I went up to Braintree, that parking lot up there where the trains coming in, and I stole a Jeep. So I said to the guy, the getaway driver, I says, you know, when they jump in the car, I says, you drive right up that hill. There's a road up there, and I'll be up there in the getaway car. So he said, all right. So after we started, you know, to go up the hill, the guy jumps out of the truck, and he starts firing at us, but, you know, for nothing. So he goes and goes up the hill, the back road, and I'm right there with the car. They jump in, and we go. And now he's yelling on the radio that we got them locked in. They're in the back. They can't get out. They're in the parking lot in the back, thinking we're coming out the front. So, you know, he's telling the state police. Now, the state police are right there now with the helicopter and everything. And they says, what kind of car they had? He said, a red Jeep. He said, it's up here on top of the hill, he says. He said, hey, there ain't no parking garage or nothing. So, and then on the bottom, it was 295. So what I done, I looked around the parking lot. I went in some cars. I got some hats. I got some gloves. And I made all marks, like going down there, like we were going down 295. So they're saying they went on 295. They're headed to Boston. This is the Boston crew. You know, that's all they do. That table outside work.
Yeah, like the guys from the towns.
Yeah. So he says, they're headed to Boston. He says, we got evidence here that they went down on 295. So they're blocking all the exits on 295 up the Elbow if you go to Boston. Now, meanwhile, I went down to Inn and Hope, the old Inn and Hope parking lot. And I had my car there. My buddy had his motorcycle. We split off. And then we went to Charles Street, right next to your barbershop. The house there. I used to. Yeah. And we went there and we split up the money and everything. And they're still going over about where we are and everything. We're nowhere near anything that they said. And
But isn't that the one you got? That wasn't the one you got caught for?
I got caught another, it was 2 months later. I was going to do it again because it was so easy.
That's the same one. Oh,
Same routine. I had the whole same routine. But what happened, they knew it was me.
Yeah.
The FBI knew it was me. The state police knew that there was nobody else robbing these armored trucks.
Yeah.
You can't be all there to go robbing armored trucks, facing guys, you know, they got weapons on there.
Yeah.
I mean, it's dangerous.
Yeah, sure.
So, you know, I went and I said, this was so easy. We'll do it again, you know, because I watched it and it was the same routine. And what happened was they had 24-hour surveillance on me, the feds. They rented the house across the street from some people and they watched me day and night. Who came?
So they were watching you casing the place out again.
Yeah. So they knew we were going to do it again. So I went, you know, and I grabbed the vehicles again. You know, I grabbed another Jeep. And this time I grabbed the Jaguar, you know, for the getaway, you know. And so they set us up. And it was Good Friday, you know, and we went. And I says, we pulled into the Emerald Square Mall. I went at 6 in the morning and put the cars in place. I mean, the mall didn't open till 8, 9 o'clock, but I put the cars in place.
Yeah.
And then when we went back, I went back and, my car, the stolen car, I had all the weapons in the trunk and everything. I'm pulling into the Emerald Square Mall, and as you pull in, there's a little divider that separates if you're going to go left or if you're going to go right.
Yeah.
And there was a few bushes that they planted in there, like little shrubs and everything. And I'm pulling in, and there's like 5, 6 guys in there working on it, like landscaping.
They look right.
So I said to my 2 friends that was in the car up here, I said, hey, listen, there's something wrong here. What do you mean? I says, how can 5, 6 guys be doing that landscaping? I mean, there's 2 trees in there. I said, this don't look right. I said, something's wrong here. I said, we got to get out of there. No, you're getting paranoid. We don't do this today. I'm done. I ain't coming back no more. I said, well, that's the way you feel. We'll do it. So I look, and up on the roof, I see some guys walking on the roof. They got the army camouflage pants on and everything. So I says, well, what are them guys doing on the roof? I says, you think they're there for nothing? No, they're workers. I flex to them, I says, hey, listen, to me it don't make no difference. We'll do it. I says, oh. So now the truck's supposed to come at, like 11:45. But it was Good Friday, and they had stops that they didn't do. So now it was probably about 11:15.
And they already show up.
They showed up. They were early.
Yeah.
So I said, well, we're still ready. We got the cars in place. We got the guns in the trunk and everything. I said, we'll set up. You guys get into the Jeep, and I'll take this car, up on top of that road and everything. And all of a sudden, helicopters started coming down. They started boxing us in and everything. And I don't
Well, even if you walked away, they were going to get you anyway.
Oh, the gun carries 25 bullets, an automatic weapon, so they knew it. They knew what happened. The car carries 10 years, this bullet car.
They were pulling away.
So they pulled up, got us out of the car and everything.
That was the end of it.
And the FBI guy says, how's it going, Tony? I said, not too good.
You eluded them for years. Years. So they nicknamed you the Ghost.
Yeah. So I says, yeah, things ain't going too good today. And
Because you saw it,
I saw
but no matter what, they were going to get you.
But even if we pulled out of there, then and there, they had me with the stolen cars. They had me with the automatic weapons.
You weren't pulling out the Emerald Square Mall.
Yeah. The only thing they prevented, they wouldn't let us get the guns out of the trunk. They prevented a shootout.
Yeah.
Because I had a couple of guys with me that wasn't all there. It wasn't giving up. Especially, you get 25 years. Yeah. So
Yeah, like I'm going to go with the crowd.
that was the second time. The first time it was so easy.
Successful, yeah.
Got away with it. Yeah.
So the second time of doing Emerald Square Mall was the end of your days on your car robberies, and the other 2 guys got caught also. Like there was 4 of you there.
Yeah.
Are they alive today? The 3 of them.
The old man died. My partner for 40 years and everything. He died. He was like 97. He died a couple of years ago.
Cool.
And one of the guys from Boston, I had the 3 guys from Boston I worked with, all from Charlestown. I had 20 with the feds, and then I got another 10 with the state.
So, but you only have to do the federal time in that case, right? 80% of it, 85% of it.
Yeah.
So but the state case, it wasn't done 20 years.
18 years, 7 months in the feds. And then I got out, and I was supposed to go to a halfway house in Boston. And I was supposed to go on a Monday, and Friday they called me in the office, and my unit manager says to me, you're not going to the halfway house in Boston. They don't want you. I said, why? I said, I'm all set. And he puts the newspaper in front of me, and there were big headlines that Fiore enters Gotti's trial. So he said they don't want that publicity in Boston.
So
They don't want the heat. You're not going.
you went to his trial?
Yeah, well, they were calling me in to the trial. You stay. I would be as a fight against him. It was just that, the big headlines and the picture of me and him in the paper.
Oh,
So
So they,
there was too much heat.
what was the best time you did? Best prison, you would say, in the system that you had to work through?
The feds or the state?
Feds.
The feds? Oxford, Wisconsin.
No, were there more guys there that you got along with?
Yeah, but I was hooked up again with all these kids that I was involved with these on the truck. They were 18 years old at the time down there. And they had a great culinary school down there, I was into that.
You a good cook?
And Oxford, it was brand new prison. I mean, at the time there was a single room. They had a radio built right in the wall. Wow, I mean, it was
country club almost.
it was.
Yeah, now they probably got TVs. I'll go do some time.
Yeah.
They feed you.
Judd, where did you have full shot? Those have to push you had the most fun where you had like camaraderie with other guys. And
No.
I don't think there's any prison that's too much.
State prison. Well, state prison.
he had like a lot of guys.
So I did 10 years in New York, in Graybook. I mean,
And that's where you knew most of the guys.
yeah.
And that,
for 10 years.
That was after the Emerald Square.
yeah.
Oh, it was all the same
It
thing.
was all the same.
You only did the 18 years?
Yeah.
Oh, but still, I'm saying. Yeah. I'm saying for all the things he did.
Would you say you met mostly everybody that was anybody for years in prison? Like
Yeah,
Landon?
absolutely. Absolutely.
You met everybody there.
Yeah.
Dude, to go to Danvers?
My first bid was in Danbury, in the feds. That was in 1977. I went there.
Who was you in there with over there?
Oh, Russ Buffalino, he was, charge of New State, New York. They had him under suspicion for Harper and,
Yeah, all that stuff. Yeah. So when was it hard to adjust when you got out of prison after
Yeah.
years?
I mean, everything changed. When I went away, there wasn't cell phones and all that.
right.
I mean, I still got problems using it, but all electronics, everything was different. I mean, you're in there for, say, 20 years, and the world moves on, and yours stays still,
You were better off.
Yeah.
Well,
No, not, but in a sense, it sucks. Yeah, I'm sorry, but it is what it is. I understand, but
yeah, it must have been hard to adjust. I can't imagine.
Especially when I first came out.
Yeah.
It was like,
you better, how long now? You better, if it was Gotti's trial going on, that was a long time ago. You better.
yeah, 15 years.
Are you still on any type of probation or they still got you on anything?
No. I was on supervised release for 5 years, and then I was on parole for about 8 years, And I cleaned it up.
Was your parole officer a good person over there?
No.
Really? Busted your balls?
I had a guy, in fact, he lives 2 houses down from my sister in North Providence.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Elaine?
Well, he was the one from the Cape where they send me on this beautiful
Yeah, bullshit.
Yeah, right.
And he used to come knock on the door 5 o'clock, 4 o'clock in the morning, say, "Oh, your bracelet went off," just to see where it was. I tell him, "You're lying. The red light would be on if my bracelet went off. There ain't no red light on. If you want to come and knock on the door to see where I am or what I'm doing, that's your job." He comes and gets me. I'm down on the work job, and he comes and gets me, and he comes and he's swinging his handcuffs. He was a real sweet time.
Yeah, why?
So, oh my God, he says to me, I said, "Where am I going?" He says, "You're going home." So I said, "Oh." So he takes me, puts me in the car, in the back, in the cage and everything, locks me, handcuffed. I said, "Why do I have to be handcuffed and locked back there if I'm going home?" "Oh, that's my job." And he used to have a gun, and he loved to show the gun.
Yeah.
So I says to him, listen, you're not going to go to my sister's house. I said, with that gun on. I said, and the little kids there, I said, put your jacket on, cover that gun. But he wanted everybody to know he had a gun.
Yeah, big shot.
I know.
And his badge.
Yeah.
Yeah. But some of them you actually became, but some of them were gentlemen. Like Doherty he was doing his job, but he wound up becoming he was like a gentleman. He was friendly with a lot of the guys after was in it. Like,
Well, because he wrote that book, you know.
So he has to.
Guys,
so he's got to be. Because he's,
in fact, I was supposed to be with the people on my book last Wednesday, and I ended up in the hospital. In fact, they text me today that, you know, we got to set up another date. You know, I told them it's too late this week. I got some more running around to do with the doctors and everything.
but there was one guy you became close with though, for real, didn't you? One of the guys that was chasing you at one time.
Well, because of the business thing, yeah.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah.
But
There's a lot of folk, just like the housewives and stuff. They make a lot of the stuff up. They
Yeah.
twist it.
Oh yeah, it's all scripted.
Just for the stories and yeah.
A lot of it's scripted.
So when you're in the picture of in the paper of the Rhode Island night, is he cooking hamburgers with them and everything? That's all book. That was for the magazine. Yeah.
But, you know, like most of mine that they put in the book or put in was all documented from the feds, arrests, when they arrested me with this and that. None of it was made up. Everything was really it, you know.
I've been, I
mean,
need to a sentencing hearing.
I've been arrested so many times you could never imagine or keep
You
up.
said I did 50 years.
Any big regrets that you wish you just never, the biggest regret you ever had in your career?
Well, it's got to be the last one. I mean, like I said, that ended everything, you know.
That put it all to an end at that.
That boy, everything. You know, I went away. I just had a brand new house built. You know, I had a house up in Maine. I had the house in Seacard.
Well, Tony, I mean, you did your time. You did the crime. You did the time. They didn't break you. You got out. Right. You're still living a decent life, good life, right?
Right.
Good friends in your life.
Yeah.
Family.
Look great.
I know you've suffered a lot of loss recently. Then I'm sorry for that. And again, Tony, I just want to thank you for coming on again. I hope we could even have you on again. Like I said before, we could have you on freaking 10 times without even scratching the surface. It feels like you have so many stories and you remember every detail, which is mind blowing to me. We're gonna wrap it up, and I hope to have you on again. I hope we could, like I said, we could keep going and going as long as you're willing to come on.
Yeah, anytime. Anytime.
And please do us a favor. Please subscribe. Please subscribe to the page, to the YouTube channel. We need subscribers. We just like, I don't want to sound like I'm begging either, of course, but
Well, you better hit the thumbs up.
just, it's not that hard. It don't cost nothing. Hit subscribe. Subscribe, but we're getting Tony's, but you got still a lot of friends that are still around. So we'll find them. And our third episode of this season will be, what are you fucking doing, Tony?
What are you doing? What's what we doing? We out of time?
I'm telling Pat to talk.
To say something, yeah.
What are you what's that about? He's chewing gum.
I don't want to say
He just
shit.
wants to live a life.
Cody, I'm hungry. The camera broke 4 fucking times. I want to talk about that. And then I'm fucking starving, and it broke again.
We just got it.